Welcome to Gospel Over Gimmicks again, the channel, not the podcast. I am Richard, your host, Stormy Norman, whatever you call me. I just got a belly full of tacos, but ain't nobody here, so I thought I would give this video a shot. So I have it done by Thursday. I don't have to cram it in at the last minute. I was looking through my book where I keep my things, which is awesome. I said I was going to review this, by the way, but this is a sweet little thing to tote around. But keep my list in here of video topics I got planned out, sermons or podcasts and all that good stuff. Keeps it organized. And I looked at my list. I was looking at my list. If you saw the Facebook post, you already knew this. But I was looking at my list. I was like, that's good. That's a good one too. Don't feel like doing none of them. None of them speak to me. Like I mentioned on the Facebook page last week, there's a guy at my church who passed away in a car accident. And he was about my age. Not like 36, or the news people said he was 36, I think, in the report, but I think he was a little bit older than me, like a year or two older than me. I don't know. But he passed, and his dad was down. His dad's preacher. His dad was down. His dad preached at church. Fantastic message. I haven't heard his dad preach in 11 years. It's been a long time since I heard his dad preach. So it was good to hear him preach again. And there's a lot between that service and the evening service. There was and testimonies and whatnot. People getting up saying things. There was a lot mentioned about how we don't understand what God's doing. Like, we can't always understand when God does something, what he does it for. Like, we know God has a plan, but the way he accomplishes his plan, sometimes we're just like, I just don't understand this God, because he's God and we're man, and two different minds here. They just can't coexist. I mean, they can't be on the same page. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's hard for us to understand when we're limited to time. You know, the only thing we know is what's already happened and what's happening right now. God knows what's happening all the time, every time, from then to over the future. God knows what's going on, so it's a lot easier for him, you know, than it is us. So I was reading. I got a little checklist of Bible books at the house I've been working on for about 2 years now, trying to read through the whole Bible in my own time. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a Bible plan. I'll probably do a Bible plan once I finish this, but I wanted to do it my way. I wanted to take my time and just read when I get a chance. Because Bible plans will be like, oh, you got to read 5 chapters a day. Well, I might not have time to read 5 chapters a day. So I'm just kind of taking it whenever I get a chance. And I only got a few books left to read. Like less than 10. But anyway, I don't know what I'm saying that for. But a couple months ago, a while back, however long it was ago, I was reading through Daniel. And this story, I read this story. And I love the book of Daniel. I mean, who don't? But this story just jumped out at me. Like, I wanted to make a sermon on it, but ain't got to that point yet. Though I did write these notes up like a sermon, so maybe I'll turn them into a sermon at some point. So we're going to start. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, obviously, but I got some verses picked out about how there is a God who knows. When we don't know, there is a God we can turn to who does know. So chapter 2 is where we're at, verse 3. And this is the king that had a dream. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. So here's a situation that's happened. And, wouldn't necessarily call this a tragedy. As far as like somebody dying and us not understanding why. But I guess to the king, Nebuchadnezzar, I guess it was a tragedy to him because he couldn't sleep, and he was seeing these visions in his head, and he wanted to know what they were. So something happened. The king wanted to know what his dream meant. And of course, him being a pagan, he sought the wrong counsel. Because, he's a pagan. He doesn't know God. He doesn't know that's where to go. He doesn't know that because pagan. So, of course, in those days, they had all the little magicians and wise men and whatnot that they would have through counsel. So that's where he went. He went to his wise men, or whatever he calls them. I think that's what they were called in here. Magicians, astrologers, all that. And then verse number 10, the Chaldeans, which is, the people he asked. Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asks such things at any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can show it before the king, except the gods whose dwelling is not with flesh. So basically they're saying, we don't know, and because, if you remember the story, if this is the right one, Nebuchadnezzar told him, I had a dream, interpret the dream. And he didn't tell him what the dream was. Because, if you're going to convince him that you're really a magician or whatever, then you should already know the dream. He shouldn't have to tell you. That was his way of thinking. But they're telling him, there ain't no way. There ain't no way we can figure this out. There ain't nobody on earth that can figure this out. And furthermore, we don't understand why you're asking this, because nobody on earth, no king on earth would have asked their magicians this. I don't know why you're asking us. Saying it's impossible to know. And saying man isn't smart enough to know God's ways. Like I mentioned in the opening. But we always think we are, don't we? I was just having this thought when I was on my way back from Taco Bell earlier. That we got people who aren't really, people who maybe pretend like they're Christians, maybe they are Christians, people who aren't Christians at all, think we can figure out the things of the universe. And I was thinking to myself, we can't even predict the weather accurately, and yet we think we can figure out the mysteries of God. I don't think so. So, word got back to Daniel that the king was mad. He got mad because the Chaldeans couldn't interpret his dream. So he's like, alright, I'm just going to kill all y'all. All my wise men. I'm going to kill all y'all. Because, what good are y'all to me? You can't interpret my dream. So I'm going to just kill you. All of them, including the ones that weren't even there. Because Daniel wasn't there. And Meshach, Shadrach, all of them. So, they were going to get punished for something they didn't even have no part in. But it says that the council, King Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, had told Daniel what was going down. They were all going to get killed. And then in verse 17 it says, Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, which was Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. This is their Hebrew names. That they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. So here's the thing, that's one of the things that stands out to me. Daniel don't know either. Like I said, man can't figure out the things of God. So the Chaldeans, they didn't know. Obviously, they're pagan. And Daniel, he don't know either. And neither does Hananiah and Mishael and Azariah. They don't have a clue how to interpret this dream. But they know how to get it done. So it says they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning the secret. They were praying that God would show them what it meant. So they prayed for God to reveal it to them, even though they didn't know either. Because they're just men, just like the Chaldeans. The difference is the Chaldeans don't know who to ask. And Daniel and the boys, they do know who to ask. So this all leads up to the spot that I thought was fantastic. Verse 27, okay. The Lord reveals it to Daniel, what the vision is and what it means. So Daniel goes to Arioch, says, hey, let me talk to the king. I got this figured out. So he takes him in there and he tells him. Verse 27. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king. So he reiterates, man cannot figure this out. And then here's my favorite part. Verse 28. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. And then it goes on to interpret the dream. But I love that. I got it underlined in red, if you want to see. Got it underlined in red because that was like, But there is a God in heaven. I could just see some old preacher up there. But there is a God in heaven. So Daniel makes it clear. He made it clear to Nebuchadnezzar. I don't know. Nobody knows. No man knows, is what he's saying. And that the only way he could interpret the dream, he made it known. In other words, he gave God the glory. He didn't walk in there like, hey, I figured that dream out. Yeah, me, I did it. I figured it out all by myself. He didn't go in there and say that. He went in there and said, God, there is a God in heaven who told me what this dream means. So, I don't know. I guess that's just the basis of what I was trying to get at today. Sometimes things happen. Like I've said, I've done a video on it before. And I've talked about it. Like my cousin RJ, and he passed away. 23 years old, about to get married. Why? I don't know why. The guy at my church just passed away, my age, left behind 2 kids, and now they don't have a mom or dad. Why? Don't make no sense. And to me, it don't make no sense. To everybody I know, don't make no sense. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known. I don't understand, but there is a God in heaven. And the one verse that was repeated, I don't know where it's at. I think it's in Romans. Y'all want to go looking for it, or just want me to try and remember it by memory. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. So I don't know, but I know there's a God in heaven, like we just read in Daniel. And I know that for them that love God, all things work together for good. That makes me think, as sad as it is, I'm not saying that when people die we should just be like, oh well, it's sad, okay? Don't try to pretend like it ain't. I hardly knew the guy that died at church. I knew him a little bit, but not much. But it made me teary-eyed, just thinking, dude's my age. And so, like I said, I don't know, but I know there's a God in heaven, like Daniel said, and I know that for them that love God, and to them that are called according to his purpose, all things work together for good. So, I know that. So if you're not, if you don't love God, and you're not called according to his purpose, be a little worried. But I know I'm called according to his purpose. That's why I'm sitting in front of this camera. Here's another good one, since I got it highlighted down there. What shall we say then? What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? So, probably could have communicated this better. But when things happen and we don't understand them, going to get it, try to ask somebody else, why did this happen? They don't know either. You don't know. They don't know. But there is a God in heaven who knows. And if you love him and you're called according to his purpose, he works all things according to good. So, man, don't that make you feel good? To know that God is in control. Man, it takes a burden off of you, don't it? You don't have to be in control. God's in control. He's got this. And when things happen and you don't understand, like, I don't understand how this could happen. This is terrible. It ain't terrible. God's got it. God's got it under control. There ain't, like I was listening to the preacher earlier, God, he ain't up there popping aspirin. He ain't up there wringing his hands. Oh no. What are they going to do next? I don't want them to ruin my plans. We ain't going to ruin God's plans. God ain't concerned about us ruining his plans. He's got it under control. So, that's the video for today. It'll be up Thursday. I don't know why I say that, because when you see this, it'll be Thursday. Podcast probably this Friday. But I got to take an exam this week. But regardless, Friday's my last day of school. So it's not possible for me to do any work past Friday. So if the podcast ain't up Friday, it'll be up Saturday. So look for that. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. But I got an idea about starting do some biographies on the podcast. Like earlier, what was I listening to? Somebody was talking about somebody. Or maybe I was thinking about it. But I was like, I bet I'd do a biography on Spurgeon on the podcast. And then I was like, you know what would be even better? If I just started doing biographies on some, famous Baptists. Like C.I. Scofield. I think that's going to be the first one I do. C.I. Scofield. Strong. Spurgeon. Maybe Dag. Y'all probably don't even know who that is. But it's not going to be like a consecutive series thing like I did with eschatology, like one episode this week, and it'll be something like I do one a month or something. I don't know. But we're over 20 minutes now, so let me end this video. So remember, Gospel Over Gimmicks on Instagram, Gospel Over Gimmicks on Facebook, Gospel Over Gimmicks podcast, iTunes, Spreaker, Podcast Addict, gospelovergimmicks@gmail.com if you need to send me an email. That's where you do it. So till next time, take up your cross, carry on.